I torpedoed a dude's entire career because he was a bully. So to preface, I know I'm something of a Nepo baby, but it is what it is. My mom is incredibly successful in a very niche, but very lucrative field of business. This allowed my dad to be a SAHD and for me and my siblings to get a good education. When I graduated from college, I decided to go into the same field as my mom. While I love her and our relationship is good, I very much did not want to only be viewed as her kid, or receive special treatment due to how well regarded she is, so I use my dad's surname, and generally keep who my mom is to myself. I also avoided coming to work for her. In my field and country, it's generally accepted that people are hired for a trial period, at the end of which either the employee or employer can cut ties with no fines or compensation required. So anyway, I went to work at one company. Again, I'll remind you, a very niche market, very few employment opportunities. I went in for my trial period and everyone seemed pretty happy with me. I put out some fires and one superior describes me as a workhorse because I'm first to the office, last out the door. It goes pretty well. Except for one colleague in my team. This dude is a huge jerk. I'm a bit of a people pleaser and try to be on good terms with everyone, but jerk will have none of it. Dude is incredibly rude. He keeps being very confrontational. Like if a colleague, not just me, was getting any sort of acknowledgement, jerk would belittle them and their accomplishment. If someone was saying they had a rough time with something, jerk would pop up going, "Oh yeah, I did that a while back, it was super easy." Whenever someone tried talking about future plans with me, jerk would go, "Oh yeah, we'll see about that." He also apparently says some very unkind things about my appearance and masculinity, but those at least he had the decency to say behind my back, I suppose, and I only learned about them later. Like dude was incredibly mean, for apparently no reason except trying to make himself look better by making everyone else look worse. This one thing wasn't true to me specifically because I'm male, but his meanness seemed to apply especially to women. A few comments were about how working in this field isn't for moms, and they should be raising kids or whatever, and some other very bad stuff. But management seemed pretty content keeping him around because apparently he was a pretty good worker and they liked that he was ambitious. Fine. My trial period ends. I am offered a permanent position, but decide this is not the place for me, as I don't love being anybody's workhorse, and have very little interest in sticking around in jerk's vicinity. I respectfully inform them I will not be sticking around and go find work elsewhere. On my last day, I come to say goodbye. Management says they're sorry to see me go. Colleagues wish me well and say they're gonna miss me. Jerk goes, "HA. Told you OP wasn't gonna stick around. Good riddance. Maybe this field isn't for you either." Very loudly. I leave. I'm not very confrontational and I don't have to deal with him anymore anyway, so I just go. Some time goes by, I am now employed elsewhere. I'm happy and doing well. I love my work and my colleagues. I've been promoted, and I don't really think about jerk anymore, except apparently there's a relative influx of applicants from jerk's company? Relative because again, very niche market. Whatever. My boss knows I did a trial period over there, so whenever an applicant comes up, he asks me about my experience with them. There are very few people I dislike, so when asked, I usually give my honest opinion, which is usually very positive. But guess whose application we suddenly receive? It's jerk. My boss asks for my opinion, and I say, look, I have personal feelings about this person, and I can't be objective. Boss, knowing just how positive I usually am about basically everyone, asks me what's up, and eventually I tell him. I tell him everything. Jerk, obviously, doesn't get hired. I assume that's the end of that. Few days later we have family dinner. My mom goes, "Wait, you had a trial period at that company, right? Do you know jerk?" Well, my mom knew there was a person I really didn't get along with at that company and the shitty things they did. I tell her it was him. Obviously, she ain't gonna hire him either, especially given his views on women. So my company ends up hiring one of jerk's company's former workers. Me and her are on great terms, and this is how I discover what happened there. Jerk got promoted, and that made a bunch of people want to leave. This caused management to look into why strong applicants were leaving after their trial period was over. Turned out it was jerk. Someone had a talk with him, and from what I gather he was not receptive to criticism. He was let go. This is when he applied to the company I work for and to my mom's. From what I understand, he no longer works in our field. There are, as I mentioned, not many employers around, but unfortunately I have no idea what he does do. Will update if I find out. Maybe this field wasn't for him.